We're getting ready for the start of this race now, and what an amazing race this could turn out to be, because the track is drying out so quickly, and yet nearly all of the cars are on wet tyres, with just 2 cars.
I reckon a few are going to come in and change now.
Yeah, you actually are right there. I think we may well see some cars come in at the end of this formation lap and put on some slick tyres, because that there is a real opportunity that as the track continues. And even just talking to Alan Gow a moment ago, he really thinks the track is drying out very, very quickly. And there could be a real opportunity for those on slick tyres. So let's wait and see. You're absolutely right, Alan. It might get busy in the pit lane any moment, mightn't it?
I'm pretty sure it will. And it's going to be the teams that can afford a gamble. So if you like the cars that are in the second half of the grid, what is to lose? You can take it easy on the first few laps while everybody else on wet tyres is drying it out. When it becomes dry, those wet tyres are going to be absolutely useless. And if you are on a dry tyre, you're going to absolutely fly past everybody else. So essentially, you're asking the first half of the grid to do all the important work to clear the track. And then we've got a Napa car in.
Yeah.
Is that going to be Sam Osborne? No, it's Ash Sutton.
Ash Sutton from third. Interesting.
Ash Sutton, Nemo as he is known. Oh, it's going to get so busy. Ash Sutton in for slick tyres.
Wow. That is amazing. He was due to start from third place. He's decided to come in.
Tom Ingram in for slick tyres as well.
Tom Ingram, right, okay. So some key championship contenders deciding to come in for slicks. Is that Turkington?
I'll tell you, Turkington's in, Rowbottom is in. I knew this was going to happen. Ronan Pearson is in. There are quite a few of them coming in. That's Aaron Taylor-Smith is in as well. So a change onto medium tyres for Ronan Pearson. Hard tyres for Tom Ingram. He was in the top 10. And
wow.
That's the way the rules work. If you finish in the top 10 in race 1, you need to be on the hard tyre in race 2.
So Ash Sutton has got the top spot at the end of the pit lane with Tom Ingram right behind him. So they won't be allowed to start until after the grid goes past, but they will be given the signal by the marshals. In the meantime, we are now getting ready for the start of the race for those who have stayed out. Most of them are on the wet tyres. A couple are on slick tyres. Green flag from the back. We're ready to go. Racing here at Snetterton. And Jake Hill gets away. Bobby Thompson makes an error. A poor start. And Andrew Watson actually makes a brilliant start. Andrew Watson straight up into second place in car number 11. That was a really good getaway. Superb stuff by him. And into the first corner. Now they've got to decide where's the grip and where isn't it. Dan Camish losing out a little bit. Jake Hill has definitely got the advantage with the lead to start with. But now coming out of the pit lane is Ash Sutton on slicks. And a number of others.
And one car that left the pit lane after changing onto dry tyres because he was able to do so, finishing outside the top 10, is on soft tyres. Aaron Taylor-Smith, watch that car.
Absolutely, thank you very much for that. Meanwhile, there's a good bit of contest going on for second place at the moment. It's still a bit tricky. I haven't seen anyone on slicks charging up through the order yet, so we've only got 2 cars on slicks at the start, but now, of course, we've got others coming from the pit lane, and they will gradually pick up the speed, pick up the grip, and we'll see how that goes. At the moment, I do think those started on slicks. Rob Huff is down the pack a little bit, no doubt about it, but we shall see. He is in that group, number 12. That is the lead car. In fact, he's being chased by the other car on slicks because so many other cars came into the pits. Those two are together. If we get a safety car, those that have started from the pit lane, of course, that would completely reform this race. So a safety car coming out will bring them all back together again. Up front at the moment, Jake Hill has the advantage. Second place for Andrew Watson, who started in 5th but got into second place rapidly. It was a brilliant getaway from him. He's being chased down by Dan Camish, who originally started in 4th place, and Bobby Thompson, who started from the front row, did not get off the line at all well. He's been struggling a little bit. Wipers are working. There is still some spray out there, but we shall see how it goes. 10-second penalties. We've got, right, okay, for Jake Hill is one of those who's got the Dan Thompson. They've both got penalties. Goodness, it must be to do with the start. I think there was a bit of rolling. I did notice it. A little bit of rolling as the start took place. So this is all going wrong suddenly for the BMW drivers who did so well in race 1. But now they've got penalties. My goodness. On the meantime, we're watching Josh Cook moving up through the order. Jake Hill is leading this race, but with a 10-second penalty. That is going to completely change the order. It means that Watson is effectively going to be the race leader now as we watch to see how those on the slick tyres are beginning to make some progress made. Now, the first on the slick tyres just crossing the line, that's Rob Huff. He's in 13th place. Chris Smiley on the slick tyres is following him. The two of them working together by the looks of things, both on slicks, and they are currently in 13th and 14th places. Now, are they going to be able to get the grip over the next few laps? Adam Morgan under threat from Josh Cook. This is a battle for currently 5th place, but with the penalties in place for Hill and for Thompson, this could potentially a podium finish that could still be coming this way. We're very early in this race. I think we're going to see a lot of changes as to who ends up finishing on the podium here. It's going to be a difficult one to predict with these 10-second penalties having been applied to Jake Hill and Bobby Thompson as well. As we look on board, as Adam Morgan tries to make some more progress. He's in a good position in his BMW, and these wet tyres are working reasonably well at this stage. Just to remind you, Rob Huff on the slick tyres is the fastest in terms of, well, he's in the lead position on the slick tyres. They are going to be caught fairly quickly now. Ash Sutton is putting together some quick sector times, but I have to say the sector times at the moment on wets being done by everybody still quicker than the sector times being done on slick tyres. So, was it the right choice to put on the slick tyres? We will find out. Still early days in this second race. And right now, Bobby Thompson, he has a penalty, but it doesn't mean that he can't go racing after these top guys. And we shall see what happens in the remainder of this race. We are on lap 2 out of 12. And Tom Ingram also trying to make the most of coming onto the hard compound slick tyres with that pit stop just before the start of the race.
Yeah, just looking at the lap times, Ben, for sure, without a doubt, exactly as you said, the tyre for the moment is the wet tyre. It is considerably quicker over the course of a lap. The question is, once we've had touring cars going around for 6 or 7 laps, no more rain, they're going to be really working hard to make a dry line appear, and it's going to be the second half of the race that potentially those slick tyre drivers are really going to come into their own.
Adam Morgan's decided to come in and put the slick tyres on as well. So as you say, I think this is going to change around completely. And the fact that Adam Morgan's come in after doing a decent run up front on the wet tyres, but now has decided to change that, it is understandable. And we've just seen Rob Huff go over the line on his slick tyres, doing a 2-minute 18. Still some way off the pace of the front runners, doing 2 minutes 10. So Hill is still right up there, setting fast his pace at the moment, and he certainly needs to do that, as he's got a penalty as well that's going to be applied, as far as we know. He is leading this race as Adam Morgan comes back out onto the circuit, having switched onto a set of slick tyres now.
And I've just seen, Ben, that it was, a false start for Bobby and for Jake.
Okay, a full start. Yeah, they were just moving a little bit. I noticed before the lights went out, they're trying to get off the line. It's interesting that it happened to both on the front row, whether they were just, I don't know what quite happened to them. Meanwhile, Thompson has a chance now to get up officially, well, not officially, but certainly on track into 3rd place. He's alongside Dan Camish. Dan Camish on the inside, the number 27 Napa car. He's going to have to brake late to try and hold it off as he does so into the Brundle corner and then through the right-hander. This is where we saw a big puddle earlier on. They've managed to clear it away. Thompson's now got the inside line going into bomb hole, but the outside line, there's plenty of grip on the outside line, and Camish is just about able to hang on in it. Well done to Dan Camish on that outer line. I thought there may well be contact between them, but they've dealt with it well, and Camish, that outside wide line, definitely still providing a little bit more grip than the inner line. Bobby Thompson had to lift a bit more off the throttle, and he's had to settle back into that position for the moment. Let's just see what happens here. Jake Hill, the race leader, with Watson in 2nd place. The battle for 3rd going on right now. Camish trying to stay in front of Thompson, which he's managing at this stage. Josh Cook is in 5th position. Mikey Doble is in an excellent 6th place. And it was a very unusual start, seeing cars, so few of them off the line, eventually getting off the line, and others starting from the pit lane. A very unusual way to get going. Jake Hill still has the command here for now. But are the lap times coming down for those on slicks? Yes, a 2-minute 14 second lap this time from Rob Huff. So now the gap in seconds is coming down to 4 or 5 seconds between being on slicks and being on wets. Oh, that was a big slide from Ash Sutton. He nearly lost it a moment ago. And in the meantime, right behind, there was a good battle as Aaron Taylor-Smith went right down the inside of Tom Ingram. And Aaron Taylor-Smith is going pretty well. He's on the soft compound tyres. So there, that is why he's been able to use the soft compound tyre. Many others have had to use the hard compound tyre because they finished in the top 10 in the first race. And that is proving to be a more difficult tyre to come to work. Anybody on the soft tyre is definitely in a good position. Actually, the lap time that Aaron Taylor-Smith is doing on the soft tyre is now getting absolutely comparable with those on the wet tyres. So anyone else on the soft tyre? No, not at this stage. It is only Aaron Taylor-Smith on a soft compound slick tyre, and he is flying along, and as we've just seen, made a very, very good pass. How far can he go? This is going to be fascinating because he's a long way down at the moment, down in 14th position, but I think he's going to be taking up a lot of ground very, very quickly. In the background, I can see Rob Huff going on to the main straight, and Chris Smiley behind. Now, behind them, we will then see the battle continuing because it is Taylor-Smith, I think, who is then chasing after them, and he is going very quickly on the other tyres. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see how Aaron Taylor-Smith manages to achieve, and he is ahead of Ash Sutton and of Tom Ingram, and these two championship contenders are at it again. They're racing against each other. Two of the leaders in the championship. Well, Ash is the leader, and Tom Ingram, a race winner as well this year, and he's got a chance going down the inside in the bomb. He breaks late, and Ash Sutton's quite cautious there, and he doesn't try and fight back, and indeed Tom Ingram takes the place. So that is again Ingram getting past his big rival Ash Sutton at this stage. The two of them still pushing on as we're getting towards nearly, well, not quite half distance. We're just going on to lap 5. Ooh, a wide line there for Tom Ingram. Little opportunity for Ash Sutton to come back at him.
Aaron Taylor-Smith is about to put in the fastest lap of the race, I reckon.
You're right. Yes, absolutely. A very impressive lap. He's done a 2:07. So the leader's doing 2:08, but now we have a man on slick tyres who is setting the fastest lap. It is car number 40, the Evans Halshaw Power Maxed Racing Vauxhall Astra, and Aaron Taylor-Smith is on a complete charge here on the best tyres possible. He's chasing after a couple of cars that are on slicks already, and so they are catching the next group. Huff did a 2:11. They are catching the next group of cars now, but the fastest of all is definitely the number 40 car on those soft compound tyres, and he's already flashing his lights a little bit to say to Chris Smiley, I'm on the way, mate. I'm going to get you. And Smiley has dropped back a little bit from Rob Huff. Meanwhile,
there may be something that's going to scupper the plans. It's raining.
I thought that, yeah, I just saw a little bit of rain sparkle on some of the windows just then. So suddenly, this could change it all around again for those on the wet tyres who decided to stay on the wet tyres and didn't change onto slicks. Perhaps it will work for them. And that includes, of course, our race leader, Jake Hill, but we know he's got a penalty of 10 seconds. His lead at the moment is 5.5 seconds. With his 10-second penalty at the moment, it would drop him down to 5th position, I believe. But right now, there's some time to still make that gap a little bit bigger. Andrew Watson, number 11, is effectively the race leader, I believe, with those penalties that we were told about.
Yep.
Andrew Watson is our effective race leader and doing a fantastic job. Rob Huff's had an off. Rob Huff on his slick tyres. Did he manage to get back on? Yes, he did. He actually didn't lose too much time because he managed to straight line the corner. But, yeah, it just shows you that on the slick tyres, it is still not at all easy. And with a little bit more rain coming down, that has made it very, very demanding for those on slick racing tyres. Dan Camish still under some serious pressure here from Bobby Thompson. They're on the wet tyres. They're still doing consistent times here. But there's no doubt for those on the slick tyres, it is proving to be just that little bit more difficult now. Just seen Ingram go over the line, 2:09. Still similar lap times, actually, between those on the slicks and the wets. And it was, again, another fastest lap by the man on the soft tyres, Aaron Taylor-Smith. He's done a 2:07.275 this time. Still chasing after Rob Huff, but he's passed Smiley now. So he's chasing after Rob Huff, down in 12th and 13th places. Are they going to work, these slick tyres? Is it going to give them enough time? As we are getting towards half distance, Is this suddenly going to see the switch over? We've had this little bit of extra rain, though, so very, very difficult to judge which tyres you really want to be on. How much rain or more rain are we going to get? Windscreen wipers still operating, but not too often out on circuit at the moment. The purple BMW of Bobby Thompson chasing down the Napa car of Dan Camish. They're being chased by Josh Cook with a bit more side-by-side action just behind with Tom Chilton. Oh, Tom, he's put it on the grass. Hopefully he can get back on again. Yeah, there you go.
It's only very light rain at the moment, but look at the colour of the sky. There is more rain up there.
Okay, so it could go either way. We really don't know how this is going to work out. Max Chilton managed to get back onto the track. He's inside the top 10 at the moment, but he's having a fierce battle right now with Mikey Doble. He is ahead now of Doble. He had been behind him. So we'll have to see how that goes. There was a view from an onboard camera as he went down into the S's, into the left-hander, and he just ran a little bit wide and then had to straight line across the grass, came back out again. But actually that did put him in front of his rival. I wondered if he should give the place back. In fact, the
yes,
place,
he should, yeah.
Yeah, well, I wonder if the place is going to be given back. No, I thought he would just then. Oh, no, no, we're looking at the replay again. So, yeah, he didn't give it back straight away, and I'm not sure he has done it yet either. We shall see. Oh, Ronan Pearson's had a spin. Ronan Pearson losing it in the number 14 car. Not worked out for him, sadly. That's dropped him down the order. Race leader is still Jake Hill on track, but with a penalty.
Hang on. How did Aaron Taylor-Smith just put in the fastest lap of the race again on the last lap?
But the rain's falling even harder now. The rain is, I can hear it in the commentary box. And suddenly now those on slicks are really going to struggle. And Jake Hill has every chance of winning this race with a 10-second penalty. He's got an 8.5-second lead. Now, it does depend, of course, if we get a safety car at any stage, because that would completely end his opportunity because they'd all be close up together. But right now, he's got an 8.5-second advantage over Watson. Into the pit again for the second time, ironically, is Adam Morgan.
It's pouring. It's absolutely pouring.
Oh, for those on slick, I do feel sorry because I thought that was a good gamble to take to go on the slick tyres, and initially it seemed to be working, but who could have known we were going to get more rain in this race? But it is working well for Jake Hill. He is leading. We've still got this remarkable battle going on between Dan Camish, number 27, and number 19, Bobby Thompson, making his return to touring cars with a great second place in the first race. Can he get another podium in this one? That's the question. We will find out. Rob Huff, meanwhile, battling with Aaron Taylor-Smith, the two of them on slicks. Different forms of slicks, but they're now having a big, big fight themselves. They're still quite a long way down, though. They're outside the top 10.
I don't really know how they're keeping it on the black stuff, to be honest, Ben.
I know. With the amount of rain we've got out there now, that is a real, real challenge. I don't know how they're going to cope with this. Mind you, Taylor-Smith did a really good lap last time around, so it's ironic. But now we've had more rain since that last lap that he did, when he was still going at a very, very high pace. There's no doubt that the soft slicks are giving him more grip at this stage. And can I tell you, Jake Hill has more than a 10-second advantage now over Watson. So that means that even with his 10-second penalty for something that went wrong at the start, Jake Hill is currently in the official lead of this race. But how long will that stay? I don't know. And now we've got this battle once more that we were looking at, slicks versus slicks, and it's Aaron Taylor-Smith who gets past Rob Huff. And he is now the lead slick runner, but he's up in 12th place. Can he get up into the top 10? With the rain still falling, that is a big target. Jake Hill needs to keep it tidy, needs to keep it smooth. He's opened up this very, very valuable 10-second advantage over Andrew Watson. Bobby Thompson, of course, he's got a 10-second penalty as well, and he's not in the same sort of place because he's in a group of cars. This really will drop him a long way down the order. He's still having that great battle with Dan Camish, of course, but if you add 10 seconds to what he's doing, it's going to drop him down to the bottom end of the top 10.
Turkington into pit lane as well, Ben.
Oh, right, Colin Turkington. So another major championship contender deciding to come in to change tyres. That is interesting to see what they're going to do now as well. And this is really hurting Turkington because he's not really going to get any points out of this. Dan Robotham also coming into the pits. We've still got a few laps to go. Whether they're going to be able to get anything out of this by the end of it, who knows? it's
what
proved
they'll be trying for is to finish inside the top 12 and get the luck of the draw for the reverse grid third race.
Yeah, the reverse grid, absolutely, but we can't predict how many will be reverse grid until the draw is done. So Jake Hill has this absolutely suitable advantage, although when he last came across the line, it was only just over 10 seconds. The form is showing us it is just over 10 seconds at the moment. That's what he needs over Andrew Watson if he's going to hold on to the victory in this race. He's actually trying to keep the tyres cool. He's moving on to wet patches in a few areas. Let's just see what the gap is going to be this time before we see Andrew Watson come across the line. Adam Morgan, his teammate behind, but he's not in the same position at all, of course. So we're just, across the line goes Watson, and it's now 11.8 seconds. So right now, Jake Hill is on target for a double victory in British Touring Cars, just like we've seen at Donington when it was Tom Ingram, at Brands Hatch when it was Colin Turkington, taking race 1 win, race 2 win. It's now looking as though it's going to be Jake Hill who can do the same. But one of the things we might see for the first time today is the problem for Ash Sutton getting a podium. Ash Sutton has been on the podium for every race so far this year. Well, that's going to be a tough one. He's down in 16th place. He's still on the hard, slick tyre. And I have to say, this is not working now. For those on the slicks, this is proving to be a very, very demanding race. The best on the slicks now, Aaron Taylor-Smith in 12th place, but not really able to make much ground because he was a slower lap last time than those on the wets. As the track got wetter again, it's been very difficult. I'm amazed that some of those on the slicks have stayed out there and kept it going. And Aaron Taylor-Smith, one of the key ones in that direction, he still has a big gap to try and catch Scott Sumpton, who's up ahead of him in 11th place. This could be a best result of the season for Scott Sumpton, currently in 11th place. We shall see how this goes. Joining into British Touring Cars this year, Sumpton, so he's still learning a huge amount about the style, the technique required in this very high form of motorsport, but we shall see how that operates. Watson still holding on to second place. Oh, we saw Sutton going off. I mentioned he's likely to not get his first podium of the year in a way, because he's been on the podium every time. It's looking even less likely now. He's been off on the grass, and Ash Sutton. And now Watson's gone off. Watson, second place. And at one stage, he looked like he might be the winner if Jake Hill was given that. Well, he will be given the penalty, but now he's just thrown it all away. Andrew Watson has dropped down the order quite considerably, and it was down through the left and right. It was out of Nelson, hit the curb, over the grass, and that has lost him several places. Let's see where he comes back out. It was certainly after Josh Cook. So he's going to be down at the lower end of the top 10, I think, when he comes back across the line. Oh, I do feel for Andrew Watson, it's been a very challenging time. What it does do for Jake Hill has given him even more of an advantage. And Watson dropping down the order, and it looks as though he may well be in 7th position. Yeah, 7th place for Andrew Watson after that mishap. Oh, Sutton's off. Ash Sutton's off. Championship leader. Ash Sutton on the slick tyres. He's trying to get it going again. I think he's managed to stay off the barrier. Where did this happen? It was going out onto the Bentley Straight. The last right-hander. Big. Oh, did he hit the... Oh, yes. He did hit the barrier. He hit it pretty hard, I have to say, through the Williams corner. And I hope there's not much damage done to Ash Sutton's car. What a different race this is for Ash Sutton. Championship leader. And what a race it is for Jake Hill, who had a tough time at Brands Hatch, had a steering problem in one of the races that sent him off into a barrier. And now it's all turn around here as the championship leader has hit the barrier. And he's never going to be on target to get another podium finish that we have seen throughout the season so far. Jake Hill on target for victory. Dan Camish on target for second place. He'll be delighted by that as well, Dan Camish. This could be a very good result for Camish. It would be his best performance by far of the season so far. And very important points for him in the championship as well. Bobby Thompson currently third on the road, but he has that penalty. So it effectively means that Josh Cook could well take the other podium slot here in third position. So let's wait and see if that holds together. We are on lap 10 out of 12. How are the guys on slicks doing? Well, no real change there. Aaron Taylor-Smith is still down in 12th position. Last lap, still slower than anybody on the wet tyres. The slick tyres are not working well. He was some 6 seconds away, really, from anybody that was on the wet tyres, and Taylor Smith is not able to close up.
Ash Sutton down pit lane.
Ah, okay. So, well, you did say about Ash Sutton and all his podiums.
Oh, is it my fault now?
No, not at all, mate. Not at all. That was their decision. Their decision. They decided to go for the slick tyres at the end of the formation lap. That was not ultimately the right decision. Difficult one to make, but there you go. And we're now on to lap 11 out of 12. Race advantage for Jake is now up to over 15 seconds. Second place for Camish. Third on the road is Thompson, but third in reality is Josh Cook, who is less than 3 seconds behind. So that makes quite a big difference. And Thompson will drop down to the lower end of the top 10. Ironically, of course, with a reverse grid for the final race, it might make Thompson in a good position for the final race of the day today because of his penalty, because I think he will be in that top group still. And we shall see how many cars are reversed. But it's not going to be a third place finish, which is where he's actually sitting on the road, and he's still chasing after Dan Camish. It's still a close battle between these two for what is second on the road right now. Further down the order, Max Chilton in a good 5th place, which should be 4th place after the penalty is applied. Mikey Doble on for one of his good results, and for Mikey Doble, this is very good news as well in terms of the different parts of the championship as well. He leads the Jack Sears Trophy, and this will give Mikey Doble a very good boost to that. Aaron Taylor-Smith is the leader in the independents, but actually Aaron will be well behind Mikey Doble, and Doble is the man chasing him down in the independents. So this is going to be a good result for Mikey Doble if it all holds together with a 6th place finish in car number 88. We'll have to wait and see how that goes, as we are on lap 11 out of 12 for Jake Hill, and currently he's been doing an absolutely magnificent job, you have to say, in tricky conditions so far. No mistakes. He went for the wet choice of tyres, and I bet at one point he was deeply regretting that decision. Then there was a funny thing at the start where both he and Bobby Thompson have picked up penalties, but since then he's driven perfectly, and he's got well over 10 seconds ahead of everybody else onto the final lap, and he's definitely on target for a double victory here at Snetterton. We're waiting a long way for the second place car. It's not the number 32 Napa car, it's the number 27 car of Dan Camish, and that is just coming over the line now, and the gap is still up in the 15-second area. So Hill is in great shape. Still third on the road is Thompson, but third in reality is Josh Cook. But Cook has not got it all to himself, because he's got Matt Chilton right behind him, and there could still be a battle. Sorry, Tom Chilton, not Matt, his brother. Tom Chilton right behind him, who is still with a chance of getting past. So Tom Chilton may still be able to get a podium finish out of this if he can just find a way past Josh Cook on this final lap. The two of them very, very close together. But for Jake Hill, this has been a superb performance, hasn't it? Really, really impressive. Rob Huff battling away again with Chris Smiley, both of them on the slicks. Remember, Chris is on the medium, Huff is on the hard. Smiley's got a bit more grip, I think, now, and I'm not sure Rob's going to be able to hold him off. Just don't take each other off. That's the thing. You need to keep going, keep surviving, but I don't think it's going to work out for them. And as they're out of the top 12, they won't be able to play the reverse grid part. Whatever happens on the reverse grid order, it's not going to work for Huff and for Smiley, sadly, because they're just that little bit too far down the order. Still a battle for third on the road going on. Or in fact, for second on the road, I should say. Camish in second place at the moment, with the chase from Bobby Thompson in the BMW, the purple BMW. But with the penalty he's got, remember, he is still desperate to get past, because when they add the 10 seconds, it depends how far it pushes him down the order. He's still having a look. But behind them, Josh Cook is still fending off Tom Chilton in the battle for what could well be, I think, the final podium slot. And it looks to me as though Josh Cook's got enough gap over Tom Chilton to hang on to what should be third place. Into the final section then, it is Jake Hill. And Jake, who started up front from pole position, got a penalty, but he's going to win. Jake Hill takes 2 wins out of 2 here at Snetterton. An absolutely brilliant performance, chasing around the circuit to get a 10-second advantage over everybody else. Well, he's managed to do it. So that means he has got 2 wins out of 2 here today. That's his 14th career win, the lucky 13th coming earlier. Dan Camish crosses the line, just to confirm. Yep, it is a big gap back. They've added the penalty now, so the official gap is 6 seconds once you take the 10-second gap added. And now Thompson, of course, pushed down the list with his 10-second penalty. It means that Josh Cook officially gets third. Chilton is fourth. Mikey Doble is fifth. Andrew Watson, very disappointed that he ended up sixth in the end. And Bobby Thompson has ended up seventh. So when the reverse grid comes up later on, Bobby Thompson is going to be near the front. We don't know where quite yet. Aidan Moffat's in a chance of being up front as well because he finished eighth. Sam Osborne, an excellent ninth. Darrell de Leon in 10th. And Scott Sumpton in 11th. And I tell you what, any of those would love to... Oh, my goodness, we saw an off there for Rob Huff. Oh, Rob, very difficult on those slick tyres. And that has lost him the place to Smiley, definitely. No decisions about that. Whether they can make it around still. Taylor Smith, still waiting for Taylor Smith. There he is, just going over the line now. First on the slicks. He ended up finishing in 12th place. And all of those on the slicks, you've got to feel for them because it seemed like such a good decision at one point, but it all went wrong. And key to the points in this race, Tom Ingram ending up in 15th position and Colin Turkington in 16th place. My goodness. But Sutton also out of points, incomplete. He was officially down in 20th place in the end. So many of the front runners failing to score. You know what? This is going to put Jake Hill right up there now. That's the way it goes. He had a tough time at Brands. Now it's all come together at Snet. His points are all going to be right up there now with the others at the top end of the championship. And as we thought, those four drivers I really think are key this year. Ash Sutton, Tom Ingram, Colin Turkington and Jake Hill. And Jake has made it work today superbly well. Many congratulations. And to get such a big lead when he had a 10-second penalty, that is remarkable that he's been able to do that. Many congratulations to Jake Hill. Fabulous job. And we will look forward to hearing from him shortly when they come out of the cars. That has to be one of the great drives to have achieved that much of an advantage over everybody else that were on the wet tyres. He wasn't the only one. Remember, it was a big group.